Welcome back to the Beyond Face Value Show. I'm Dr. Jill Wade, and I am super excited about today's topic. We are going to be talking about the Extreme Makeover Edition, a new era of dental wellness spas. Yes, it may sound strange. For those of you who are closer to my age, you may remember the extreme makeovers. We're going to be talking about that and how it all combines into this new age of dentistry. I want to also welcome back today my co-host, Laura Edward Lewis, who is just an amazing beauty and health expert. And she, to me, is just the epitome of what we are going to be talking about today. And so I cannot wait for her to join us and to have this great communication and conversation about this new topic.
Hey, Jill, nice to see you. Really happy to be here. I've been in studio with you a bunch, and then I'm in my remote studio where I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I am super excited too about this. And I love that you said that I'm a perfect example of somebody that about that extreme makeover stuff. We'll see what that means. Really, the wellness aspect of it and the continuation of making us just into, all that we want to be in our mind and our bodies and how we feel, how we show up in the world. So this is a great and very interesting topic.
Absolutely. The reason why I said you are just such a perfect example of all of this, I've known you for years. You've always been so good to yourself, so good to your body, eating clean. I mean, you've written books about being healthy and well, like you said, both in your mind, your spirit, your body. And also, you just are beautiful. I mean, what can I say? Every time I see you, you just age so gracefully. And that's what I think so many of us want. We're okay with aging. We just want to do it really well and look really good and confident and feel, vital and vibrant. And we just hope that what's, kind of coming off of us from an energy standpoint is what we want the people around us to see and to feel.
Exactly. I mean, one of the reasons, let's just start with the smile, for example. I mean, this has been your world. You're passionate about this, Dr. Jill. By the way, I just want to mention real quickly, just as a side note, if you're just listening to this podcast on one of your favorite podcast platforms, you can also come and look at us and join us subscribe to the channel over on YouTube. But come watch us, come join us and go for the ride. But, for example, smile makeovers, I had my very first smile makeover after the death of my husband, and it was a shock. And I was, I really was interested in showing up in a way in the world where it kind of helped boost me up, really. I started doing some TV stuff, and I didn't have a terrible smile, but I just wanted that white, pretty, smile where I didn't feel self-conscious. And so that was the first step. And then, of course, several years later, I met your wonderful partner, Dr. Jody Dana. And she was like, we need to fix that. And so because I love her as a person, you both, Dr. Jill, Dr. Jody as well, you guys really show up in the world with a lot of vitality. And it's really important to you to have great energy when you show up. And so that really was in alignment with me, and that helped me continue that. And then, of course, the other topics we're going to be talking about today. I know you have a whole series that's rolling out talking about some of these new treatments that you've introduced into your dental practice that was also wellness oriented, but now we have this extra beautiful thing that can add on to helping one feel their very best. And I have, I'm always interested in new treatments to help my skin, to help my body feel better. You said it right. I eat well, I work hard. This aging thing is a real interesting process. If I can look as good as I feel on the inside with the vitality that I have, that's congruent with me, then I want to go ahead and explore that without distorting who I really am.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you for those wonderful compliments about me, Jill. But yeah, I mean, this is interesting. It's a great topic. So let's start talking about that.
Absolutely.
I want to know, first of all, from your perspective, because I know you're very excited about this, about adding on these med spa type services expansion, which really seems to me very logical. It might not be really logical to somebody who's used to just traditional dentistry. Oh, okay, there's cosmetic dentistry along with general dentistry. But then you added wellness, you were a futurist, you're a progressive, adding wellness along the way, looking at the total person. But then now what you've done is you have added on this new realm of treatments. Can you talk about, first of all, why would you want to do that?
Right. Well, the main reason why we are so excited about this is because this is who we are. This is our philosophy. We want to help people. We want to restore confidence and vitality in people, and not just with their teeth and their smile. Like I've said for years, I've like, my tagline when I sign off on a letter or something is like, keep smiling from the inside out, because I know there's more to a smile than just the teeth itself. There's the lips, there's the face, there's the eyes. Like you smile with everything, right? So it's this energy level behind the smile that actually, makes somebody more confident, somebody more approachable. And when we also don't feel good, now that could be like we're in pain, we hurt physically with our backs or some other joint, like you show it on your face. Pain is noticeable to people. There's also pain in our minds sometimes. There's a lot of stress that goes on. There's a ton of stress that's been going on since COVID. And we've talked about it on the show before about what stress does to you and the inflammation that happens to you on the inside. It kind of rusts at you. And there's no way that you can age gracefully if you're rusting on the inside. So for us, this isn't a new philosophy. This is just our same philosophy, taking it from cosmetic and functional dentistry, taking it to dental wellness and co-managing patients with functional doctors, cardiologist, ENT specialist, all these things about sleep and breathing and snoring and diabetes and heart disease. I mean, you name it. We cover the gamut. And to me, these products, these suites that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes about what we've brought into the dental office is such great new treatments that are non-invasive. And that's what I love the most about them, is how non-invasive they are. No downtime, little to no downtime at all, comfortable, and really getting some great results in a short period of time.
That's what I love about what you do, and your passion is that what you just said is you're taking care of the whole human being as much as possible, as much as you can, like alleviating the pain, helping boost their self-confidence, helping boost their health in general, which will help make them feel better, make them smile more, and that type of thing. And so this new arm, if you will, this new suite, this new expansion into what you're going to be offering through your practice, which is located just outside of Dallas in Frisco, Texas. It's a beautiful office, by the way, you guys, they're great. But just even talking today about, to our listeners who are, who knows where in the world you're listening to us from, think about this concept about the fact that if you go to the dentist and then, okay, you want to have your teeth whitened, or you maybe want to get veneers, and they're talking to you about, well, let's talk to you about your heart. Let's talk to you about how are you feeling, and that type of thing, and really digging in to help. So now here we are to go, then you get to go, well, all right, what else? Right. So what's new? Let's talk about what's new. I know you're talking in detail about many of these in the next upcoming episodes, but let's kind of give a general overview about what this is in general, and then kind of what some of the offerings you will have.
Absolutely. So before I kind of go down to the new, I'm actually going to step back for a second, because it is the new, but it was done kind of once a long time ago. Like I've been, in dentistry, doing dentistry for 3 decades now. And I remember back in the early 2000s, which I bet you remember too, and which is why we kind of named the this episode, what we did, which was Extreme Makeover, is those of us that have been around for a little while, we remember Extreme Makeover, which was this amazing show that came out. Like I said, I think it was in around the early 2000s. And it was this kind of reality show that showed over a 6-week period of time how someone could have, maybe it was surgery, maybe it was exercise, maybe it was some kind of combination of diets, dentistry, whitening, veneers, implants. There were every case was different because obviously it was a unique individual. They would end up with their hair maybe kind of got a new design better to fit their face and facial shapes, makeup, and a whole new wardrobe. Do you remember Extreme Makeover?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was so fun.
And it was on that forefront of those reality shows.
It really was.
It was riveting, really, to go, wow, like taking someone and changing their lives entirely by improving their smiles and improving their appearance and improving how they feel in the end. And
they would do the big reveal. Remember, like all their family would come. They hadn't seen them for 6 weeks. They would bring them out. Everybody would like kind of be ready to cheer. And I mean, like literally their own family members sometimes would be sitting there with their mouths propped open and their eyes really wide. And they're like, oh my gosh, is that John? Is that Susie? Like they could not believe the amount of change that these people could have in a 6-week period of time. And so the other day when we were talking about this and trying to explain how we were going to explain this to our patients and maybe new listeners and followers was like, this is what we used to look at and watch back in the day on Extreme Makeover, except the cool thing about what we're talking about is not surgery. These techniques are non-surgical, non-invasive, and this is what I get really excited about. And I'm not against surgery, okay? But I want it to be something that is chosen for people at the right time of their life to get the results that they're looking for. But if they are looking for a change, a enhancement, a revitalization, let's just say, of their overall face, not just their smile like we've done for many years with our traditional smile designs, but when you're able to add this whole face kind of consultation and to give them some options of how to help their face, their minds, like to me, it's truly the new Extreme Makeover.
And I know what we're going to be talking about. It's very exciting. I mean, it is where you're combining your dentistry, aesthetics, and wellness all together, creating that beautiful package that, if someone comes in and they get their teeth white, you fix their health, right? You work on their teeth. They might do veneers. They might just do whitening. They might do something like that. And then you will ask them like, what is it what else do you need? What else are you not happy with right now? And do you know that we've got these options that doesn't involve you going into the OR, doesn't involve a lot of, like for the body, for example. I know you have something that's for the body as well, right? This is science, body science, skin science, muscle science,
absolutely,
combining with aesthetics and dentistry and wellness, put that whole package together. So
because we know that we're not different parts and pieces, right? We're all one. Right. Everything influences or has an influence, or say yin or yang, however you want to describe it. But this is truly just, I guess, my passion. Like, this is just what I feel like I've been put here on this earth to do. And I'm excited about it. And I have been practicing dentistry for over 3 decades, and I am still excited every single day to go to work. And bringing in this suite of services and products is just right up my alley. And I'm just excited to be talking to people about it, to sharing the information, and hoping to influence other dental practices to bring in this whole concept of a dental wellness spa. And so first things first, let's talk about one incredible device called the M-Face, which is again, non-invasive facelift. Now, who doesn't want to listen to what I have to say about that? Like, that's incredible.
I'm in. M-Face. EMFACE, right?
Correct.
We're doing E and M in front of it. Okay. M.
Correct.
All right.
And so a lot of people ask me right off the bat, well, what's the EM part of face? And that is basically comes back to the science and the engineering of a lot of these products have something to do with electromagnetic stimulation. And it may also include some radio frequency for heat, and that just helps to bring blood to the area to encourage healing and collagen and tightening and things like that in the skin and the underlying layers of the tissue. But the cool thing about the EM part, the electromagnetic stimulation, is what it does to the muscles below the skin. Let's say right now we're talking about the face. So as people age, and I know that you know this because, again, you've been talking about beauty and health for many, many years. But the face, when we are young, like with my 16-year-old daughters, I mean, my gosh, I would do anything to have their faces right now. They're so young and plump and vibrant and glow, like wow. And their faces are much more like a triangle. I don't know if I'm making a very good triangle there. But when you're young, your triangle, the flatter part of the triangle is up high, and then it points down to your chin. And all of that is really high up on your face, which creates this beautiful, we have dimensions and different measurements that make, quote, a face beautiful when you're looking at someone, and it's the proportions of their face are more ideal or more perfect. And so as a young person, we kind of have that naturally. But as we age, as gravity happens, as the muscles begin to lose some of their tone and begin to follow gravity and drop down, the lower part of our face gets heavier. The fat that we actually naturally have in our face that kind of helps it keep plump, the collagen that's tighter, keeps everything kind of up leveled, begins to do just the opposite, and that triangle begins to switch, and then the heavy part is down low and the point part is up high. So this makes you literally change the shape of your face. I mean, my grandmother's, a lot of older people, they talk about their jowl lines. Did your grandmother used to call it that? And she was like, where did this come from? Like, this did not used to be here. This used to be up here. And how can I get it to go back up? And so a lot of these techniques on the face, where we are able to put the applicators on the face, are going to stimulate the muscles to actually get stronger and actually begin to pull back up the face, which is kind of what a facelift does. But a facelift does it surgically, and you remove some of the skin and the tissue in order to hold the tension up there. This is actually working under the skin on your own muscles, and to some extent, if you need to, get rid of a little bit of fat here and there that likes to collect itself right here under the double chin.
I had a mini facelift years ago. I mean, I'll just say it, I did. I like maintenance,
Me too.
But it was a really simple, it was a very simple thing surgically though, that he did go in and cinched the muscle, right? The muscle had started to sag, and so I love this idea of going in and using this treatment to stimulate your own muscles, tighten them back up to where they need to be. And basically that's, it's just a beautiful thing without having to go into the OR, having to do at the expense of it. So why not do that? So I'm going to come in to see you.
Yes. Well, here's the exciting thing. Literally no downtime. Like, one of the reasons I just won't do surgery on my face right now is I literally do not have the time to have downtime like that. And for me, anything that you can do that has little to no downtime, like it literally, you can come in to the office, you need to take your makeup off, obviously. The applicators are on. It's somewhere between a 26 to 28 minute treatment, depending on how many areas you can do on your face at the same time. Let's say we have some for under the eyes. We have the cheeks that can get, stimulated to move back up. We have submentum or underneath the chin. And then, of course, we have the forehead. And a lot of this you can do one area, two areas, three areas, four areas. And I love it because unlike Botox, and I love Botox too, so don't get me wrong, there's still definite times and reasons to have all of the different modalities that we have at our fingertips. But Botox has really been about quietening down the depressor muscles, making things not feel like you're pulling down on them as much, okay? Where these techniques actually encourage the elevator muscles to get stimulated and to get stronger and to pull things back up. So I'm not saying that down the road you may not need some Botox to get a couple of, the depressor muscles here in between the eyes and some things like that to still quieten down. But man, you may use a lot less and a lot less often.
I love that.
Isn't
So
that
you're going to
great?
save a lot too.
I know. And to me, it's a much more natural look as well, because as we get a little bit more, or maybe a little too much Botox or a little too much Botox plus fillers, you begin to kind of have this really, to me, a little bit of an unnatural, more puffy look rather than and it
Right.
kind of stops moving exactly normal. And so I love that it's a very natural, movable look, if that makes
Right.
sense. And
Yeah, that makes a
I'm still into fillers when needed because, we've talked about this on the show before, how like when we sleep on one side of our pillow all the time, how this side of our face will get flatter. Well, even if we stimulate the muscles, that doesn't necessarily mean that flatness may go completely away on, let's say, the right side versus the left side. So in the end, we still might need a little bit of something to create the symmetry back again, but not as much.
And I do want to mention, I did say that word symmetry a little bit ago when you were talking about that, about when a person is youthful and they have this beautiful, I love how you describe your children, your teenagers, about, how their faces are lifted and it's all up there. And then all of a sudden, it's one day you're like, how'd this happen to me? What happened? And there's genetics,
Yep.
there's genetics that some people might have more of it than others. Life happens. Life
Absolutely.
can really, cause things to happen with your skin and your muscles and that type of thing. And so this is a really cool enhancement that you are introducing to the practice that makes perfect sense with your dentistry, your wellness. Now we have aesthetics that is added on, creating this dental med spa type of world, really. And I know that, you've got other offerings that you'll get into detail with this series of treatments, but, can you do a quick rundown of kind of what those are? Because you're going to be diving in a little bit more in future episodes.
Particularly when we're working on muscles, and a lot of these products actually work towards muscles, but a lot of the services that we're going to be talking about today are somewhere between 4 and 6 treatments about 1 week apart. So we're not talking months and months and months of continual treatment over and over and over again. We're talking about a baseline foundational, kind of like having a workout trainer, and getting those muscles kind of reignited, and then letting them have about 90 days to do kind of, if you would say microscopically, what they're supposed to do. And then we're going to see you back in 90 days and actually get to compare the before and after photos so that you can appreciate all the changes. And, I love talking about the aesthetics of everything, but as well, even on the M face, this submental area, or the area right around the chin, what we are doing is combining that with our snore and sleep techniques, because as we age, this whole area is what supports good, healthy breathing in the back of our throat. And so as we age in, this muscle or this hammock that just gets loose and kind of floppy can make you snore more, can impede your breathing. So we are including this now into our whole sleep and snore and more package, which just is brilliant. I don't know, just makes me so excited about the whole thing. They also just came out on the 13th of August that we can now take the cheek applicators, change their modality a little bit, place them a little bit more straight up and down to actually work on helping relieve pain from people who suffer from TMJ or TMD. Like, this is huge. Like, the technology and the engineering that's come with these equipment, procedures. I don't know how we want to describe it exactly, but it's just phenomenal. And they are just coming out with more and more modalities that we can do. So now we're going to be adding that into our, TMJ treatments, our pain, our night guards, our NTIs and things like that. So it's incredible. And if that wasn't enough, I've got 4 more types that I want to talk to you about. So that's just the face. That's literally just the face.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so what's next then in your offerings, your new offerings?
So, like I said, these particularly are working so well with muscle and with aging, there is just some deterioration of muscle. And so we've talked about the one that's for the face, but what about the rest of the body? So we have muscles everywhere, right? So one of our muscles, remember I was just talking to you about the hammock that kind of lays underneath the chin that gets loose and kind of begins to sag. Well, there's another hammock that many people, as they're getting older or maybe have had children, also are experiencing some changes with, and that is the muscle down on the pelvic floor. So that hammock, instead of going from side to side, right to left, actually goes from front to back. And when that hammock and that muscle gets relaxed or tired, loose, if you want to say, then a lot of people are suffering from what they call incontinence. For a lot of us, we just call that leaking, right? We leak a little bit when we laugh a little too hard or sneeze. It kind of catches us at the wrong moment. And the next thing you know, you've had a little bit of leakage. Well, for some people, this can get really, really bad and just really take over their lives. We've seen a huge increase in the marketplace of people buying adult diapers. It has actually, gotten higher than the purchasing of baby diapers. So we know that this is a problem out in the public, no matter if they've talked to us about it or not. I've never had this as one of the questions on my questionnaires in my dental practice before, but as I'm talking to more and more people, I am shocked and amazed, Laura, at how many people are having problems. And I had no idea. No idea. I've actually had 3 people in the office in the last week that I was just touring around and showing them, the new options and things like that. And I said, hey, this is our magic chair called the Emsella. And they're like, what is that? What does it do? And I told them that very gently and easily for about a 24-minute session, you can do it once a week or you can do it every other day, helps to really work on the core of our pelvic area to make that hammock a lot much tighter, which supports the bladder and really helps with incontinence. Do you know that 2 of those people told me that they had recently had surgery to do a bladder lift and said if they had known that this technology was even available or out there and was non-surgical, they would have tried it in a heartbeat because they would have preferred not to have had surgery at all.
Right. Yeah.
And because the surgery, although it helped, did not completely help the leakage. Well, why not? Because the muscle isn't any stronger than it ever was. This is the only technology I know about that can do this.
This is something that people are not going to be talking about at the dinner table with their friends and that type
Maybe
of thing.
Maybe their closest friends or girlfriends.
Wow. So I love this idea, and it does make sense because of the trends that have happened with our population. People, they're not active enough. They're not taking care of themselves enough, and until it's too late, or meaning it gets to that point where this starts happening. And so this is a super option if they're starting to have this and find that they need to have a solution and understand there's a physiological reason for that. They could come to your practice, sit in the Emsella chair and have a little magic happen and tone everything, which, there are techniques to tone it. If
we've talked about A lot of us have
Yeah,
heard about Kegels and,
exactly. Hmm.
practice that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd probably, even if I was really on purpose trying to strengthen things, would I do more than 40 or 60 at any one time? I'd get bored and get, thinking about something else. And then I'm not, I'm not going to sit there and do many more than that. 20 minutes on the MCELA is equal to 10,000 Kegels.
Wow.
10,000.
And for people now,
That's
look up
crazy.
Kegel,
Yeah.
Kegel, Kegels. Okay. Kegels are that little contraction,
Hmm.
that keeps things,
Yeah.
and 10,000 of them.
10,000. Okay.
Oh,
So now here's the exciting stuff, right? So we've got the MCELA chair, which is going to move the electromagnetic stimulation up. Kind of think about it like a cord, like an imaginary cord, okay, going through our body from our base core up through our belly button. If you stand up straight, up through the neck and out the top of the head, right? That's your core.
mhm.
So we're using the MCELA chair to come from, up. You're going to feel it up and around, even all the way to your belly button for some of us, okay? And we also, with the M Sculpt Neo, which is the same technology, but in a different applicator. So rather than sitting down in the chair, it's an applicator that we can apply in multiple places on the body. But let's talk about the abdomen for a second. So we can place this on the lower abdomen, and it's like you're doing crunches, thousands of crunches. I don't know about you, but I mean, after about 120 crunches, you're not going to see me do too many more in a day. Okay. But we're talking much more crunches available to be done in the dental office, not a gym, in a dental office. You're not going to be sweating when you're leaving. You literally could go right back to work. But we're calling this the core to the floor. So if we are able to really tighten up this whole core on somebody, imagine from a positional standpoint, from a lower back pain standpoint, all these things that we're doing, working, bending over these days at our computers, on our phones, all of this stuff, we're going to get our core stronger. This is so much better from a longevity standpoint. I can go through the science later, but man, this is where it's at, Laura, is like really helping everybody to get their core. In dentistry, we've had core issues for years. Like I've had to work on core because this is what
Correct.
we do all day
Yeah,
long. So this is
right.
not unusual for dentistry, but this is unusual for the major part of the population, but not since we've been sitting at our computers, not since we've been sitting and looking down at our phones all these years. So this is going to become a problem that dentistry has faced for many, many years. And so the
Yeah.
core to floor is actually going to be a solution, a very
I
good solution.
I love that. And also, one of the problems is, and I taught fitness for years, and being physically fit is really important to me. But when a person loses the strength in their core and they try to, okay, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to work on my abdomen, I'm going to work on it. But what can happen, and it will often happen, is that they might compromise their back
Mm.
because they're not strong enough in certain areas. So what happens is that might throw them off, and then they're not going to work out for a while, and they got to go see a chiropractor or whatever else.
Yes.
And so this to me makes so much sense
So
where
much.
they're lying there and contracting the core to the floor, all those great, very important muscles to get you strong, which is going to actually help your back because when your belly muscles, your abdominal muscles are loose, oftentimes people will pop their belly out, they'll get low back pain, they'll
Yes.
get all that. So restoring the strength will restore everything, including posture, all of that. And I love this as a
Mm.
solution.
It's a great solution and a great place to start. There, who are you seeing at the gym, right? Like there's different age groups and doing different things, but like this is just a new option. It's more like a medical gym. That's the kind of picture I want to put into people's head. It's like a medical assisted gym. And it doesn't stop just at the abdomen. Like we can put it on the thighs, the buttocks, the flanks, the biceps, the triceps, calves, you name it. We can get things strong that for some people, maybe because even of an injury and they can't go do traditional weightlifting like at a gym, this can be another way because we really do know if you can keep mobile, kind of like you said, like definitely in our 60s and 70s, if you can keep mobile, if you can keep that lower body strength where you can keep bending down, keep picking things up, not start shuffling when you're walking and bending over, you're more likely not to fall. And how many times have you seen somebody have a bad fall, break a hip, something, and it really kind of is the start of the end. You know what I mean? Like their overall health just starts to really crumble after that.
Right, exactly. Well, I know you've got a couple more things in
Yes.
this series. What, you've got something for the mind?
Yes. You
Oh,
know that I've told you this before. I don't know 100% if I've said it on the podcast before or not, but my prediction, which started basically about a year ago, was that the next really big part of medicine that everybody is going to be exploring over this next decade is the mind, is the brain, and how it functions and how it's kind of the motherboard of the whole body. And that we've really never worked it out. We've kind of taken it for granted that it's always going to be there, that it's always going to be helping and telling our bodies what to do. Well, we know now with, Alzheimer's and things like that. How are you going to work your brain, right? We know the oral systemic links that create some of the dementia issues with the brain. But how about we think about it as an organ that can get worked out? Well, something called TMS or transcranial magnetic stimulation has been around for many, many years. But we now have a new modality of TMS called the ExoMind, and it is incredible. It is a magnetic stimulation of the prefrontal lobe on the left side of the brain, which is where most executive function, mood, just mood enhancement, I guess you could say, mood enhancement, executive function, sleep, processing, lots of things happen in this area of the brain. Super easy to get to, super easy to treat. And people literally can feel the difference. No medicines, none of the crazy side effects of all those medicines. And so this to me has just probably one of the things I'm most excited about to help people with, but also probably one of the scariest for a lot of people. What? You want to do something to my brain? Well, I'm certainly not going to force anything on anybody, but I will tell you this. Do your due diligence. We're going to be able to give people a lot of information about this. And we've got testimonials already coming in left and right. People who literally have one treatment and want to give us a video testimonial the moment that they get finished. They can feel the difference. It's absolutely, quote, mind blowing. I'm not trying to have a pun there, but it really is mind blowing.
oh, it sounds great. I can't wait to see some of those testimonials and see how it works. I mean, you need to do some demos of
I
it.
will. I will tell you a sweet story. So your favorite dentist, Dr. Jody Dana, just did her first ExoMind treatment last week. She had had a really stressful last couple of months with her father being ill, eventually passing away, sadly. And, just the hurt and trauma and stress of those things can just really, you know,
Yeah.
create problems with your sleep and then your processing and your sadness and all that kind of stuff. And she was so awesome and so brave. And she came in and did her first ExoMind. And literally, Laura, I'm going to send you her testimonial video, which obviously we'll be posting here soon because this was just last week, is incredible. It's literally her 2 or 3 minutes after she got finished. And her results were amazing. Very first try.
That, see, that goes in alignment with
Mhm.
you guys, you're transforming lives and even your own lives. And that is such a beautiful thing. I
Isn't
love
it?
that.
I know. It really is who we are. It really is what we're all about. And we, she and I both have been, practicing dentistry 30 plus years, and we wouldn't have to do it, in all honesty, but we love doing it. And we love being able to bring these things to the public, to our patients, to our friends, to our family, to ourselves, to be really honest with you. So the exploration of the ExoMind is just going to be phenomenal. Like, just wait. It is going to catch on, and everybody's going to be talking about it. We've got a lot of celebrities that have already been, quote, working out their brain. They've always worked out their bodies, but they've never worked out their brains. And it's just phenomenal. The testimonials are just going to be coming in left and right. And of course, now, Laura, you and I have always talked about our love and passion for exosomes, stem cells, and things like that. And I'm excited here pretty soon that we're going to be exploring more of that option with patients. We have patents that have been approved for use of exosomes with an easy way to get them into the body through the mouth and through the nose. And again, just tons of new ways to heal and to give ourselves like a hand up. I talk about this to the kids all the time. I was like, I'm not going to give you a hand out, but I will give you a hand up. And so all of these devices, all of these new procedures, all of these things, it's really, that's what it is. We just are going to have things available for you that are a hand up. And that's what I feel like health and wellness is. And dentistry, honestly, is the perfect place for this. I know people are going to be thinking like, what are y'all getting into? This is not out of our scope. This is our scope. Everything is connected together, and we can be a huge part, a piece of people's healthcare teams who, and what part of medicine was built upon prevention? Dentistry. What part or piece of medicine has already an understanding from the public that you're going to go see us 2, 3, 4 times a year for prevention? Dentistry. Who has great recare and maintenance? Dentistry. Like, we already do this. This is how we function as a profession. And so we're just going to become more and more the leaders of preventive medicine.
This has been so exciting, and it's so fascinating. I wish I was there. I wish I could come in and see you right now.
Well, come on down. We're just a flight away.
My goodness. Yeah, it sounds just great. And I know that people are going to be very interested to hear more about each of the individual treatments and things that you have to offer. So after this episode, which is our big introduction, the Beyond Face Value Show, Extreme Makeover Wellness Edition, which is really introducing and rolling this concept out, to just stay tuned, come to the YouTube channel, and you look for Stone Briar Smile Design on the YouTube channel, subscribe there so you never miss anything like that, or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you won't miss an episode, so you can hear more about all this. And, reach out to Dr. Jill at her office. I mean, and that's, again, it's in Frisco, Texas, outside of Dallas, Texas. And if you're in town, you should go take a tour and go meet them and see what they're doing. And I just think it's a wonderful, fabulous thing that you've done, Jill, in expanding into this area. This is the future. This is where it's at, taking care of the total body, mind and all. So excited for our listeners and viewers to check it out, to tune in for more, and, come see you or reach out to you and maybe even come make an appointment with you while they're in town.
I love it. I love it. Well, we love what we do. We love changing smiles. We love changing lives. And we'll do it one person at a time. That's how we want to do it. So, Laura, thanks again for being here on the podcast with me today. I always appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've really appreciated being here, and it's always fun to do this. I always learn something new, which is great. And yeah, I'll be thinking about this all day now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And thank you for joining us at the podcast, the Beyond Face Value Show.
Also, to help us grow and expand our reach, be sure to like and subscribe to this show on YouTube or your favorite podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you prefer. Just remember, it's time to live your legacy now. I'm Dr. Jill Wade, and this has been the Beyond Face Value Show. Until next time.